On Saturday, Devin talked about the importance of flushing the win just like you would flush any other game after it's over. Just how do you think the team has done with that and moving on from it?
I think they've handled it extremely well. They came in with a good attitude today. Obviously pleased with the outcome of Saturday, but understanding that it's one game and we have plenty to improve on, and we have a very good opponent coming in, and we're coming up, and we're going to travel to Manhattan, play a good football team, and get ready for them.
I'm curious with JB. I think he leads you guys in sacks. What has made him such a potent pass rusher for you guys?
I didn't know he was our leading sacker, but I guess I'll say there that he's an explosive rusher who's, has shown the ability to, he times things up well. He can avoid. He's worked on his moves, but he's elusive at the point of contact many times, and I think he plays with a tremendous motor and a will to get there, and he's found the knack to do so.
Going into this year with him, was that something that you foresaw, him having a really strong role in pass rush?
No, not really. We used him some last year. If you remember, we lined him up as a defensive end in some packages. We haven't really done a lot of that and things, but as we know that, looking at things from first half of the season, we weren't generating a lot of pass rush, so as much as we had in the past, so to find ways to do so and bring some second level pressures was going to be part of some things that we thought were going to be important last week, and it paid dividends for us.
And when you've looked at K-State so far, what have been some of the things that have stood out about them?
Again, Chris and his staff do a great job, well coached, balanced. Connor Riley's done an excellent job taking over as coordinator, mixing things up. Very talented in many positions. They have playmakers on the outside that they've been able to get the ball to in the vertical game. They've got two outstanding running backs that complement each other with different styles. Giddens is a big back who's done nothing but improve each and every year in his career. He's got very good vision, powerful runner, deceptive speed. Dylan Edwards is a great addition for them. Everyone knows what an excellent athlete he was coming out of high school. He showed some of that last year in Colorado. He's explosive in the return game. They can use him in different ways. Get the ball in his hands. Avery Johnson, first full year as a starter, was a highly national recruit and has shown everything that he's going to be, everything that everyone expected him to be in college. So they rebuilt their offensive line from a year ago, and that group continues to play better each and every week for them and gel. And again, they always have productive tight ends, and they use many of them, and they find ways to get them involved in the pass game. Defensively, I think Mott leads the league in sacks. Again, I think a well-coached defense schematically that's always been somewhat unique at times in today's world of how they utilize their safeties and get them involved. They rotate a lot of players, and so again, you can see as they mix and match guys that they're well coached and fundamentally sound.
Like you mentioned in the past, you're sticking to the process every week, but when it's a rivalry week, is there anything you do to highlight what this game means?
Not really. We haven't. We talked. I think our players know exactly. We don't, make more of it. Then it's an important game on the schedule for us to build upon. And last year was a very good football game that we had our opportunities and we let it slip away. I think our guys know how important it is and the extra energy that comes into rivalry games. But again, I always say if you put too much stock into one game, you got to line up the next week and play again.
Lance, the wide receiver room and Jalen looked more on the same page the last few weeks. What's kind of got in that process of making them get acclimated to each other again? I know you and Rams talked about it, having that group kind of getting back to that rhythm.
Yeah, I think there's some things that they've all gotten more comfortable with each other. I think Jalen's found himself more comfortable in the pocket and doing things and seeing things a little better. I think we've been able to hit, obviously we've been talking about getting ourselves better in the vertical game, and you can see Quentin's made some plays there for us here of late, some big plays, and you know what we were a little more used to a year ago. I thought it was great to get LJ involved a little bit more. Probably didn't have Luke quite as many targets as we had in the past, but again, just good balance, and I think you know, even though it probably didn't come together as smoothly as we wanted to early in the year, it started to gel now.
Physically, how did Cornell respond to being back out there?
I thought he handled it pretty well. You know, he wasn't 100%, but he was close and fully cleared to play. And you know, it's good to get him out there. There's a couple things he had to knock off a little rust on some things and some coverages, but I thought he played hard. He played well. He's back out there again today, and you know, we expect him to be fully available once again.
Okay, yeah, I guess that's what I meant in the aftermath of
Yeah.
playing. So
Yeah, you know, right now there's, you know, sometimes in these days you know, on this first day back on the field, you hold the guys a little bit, just maybe do some walkthrough stuff. But he was out moving around today, and haven't heard anything from the report that would say otherwise right now.
and then getting back to the rivalry aspect of this, do you have to address? You got some all-time greats who will be remembered here for a long time that haven't got K-State yet. Do you have to address that with them to try to keep that, you know, vibe to a minimum?
I don't know if you have to address about it. We know that this has been a one-sided, you know, outcome for a while, and you know, I think I said it in one of my first years here, to make games rivalries, you got to make them close and competitive. And as disappointing as last year was, you got to turn the page from it and know that there's things that are going to happen. I know 2 years ago we kind of gave things away in turnovers early. I think on a punt return, and let momentum. The game got away from us early, and Jalen was coming back off injury and things like that. So we've got to get off. Can't let the crowd get in. I'm sure they'll be charged. We got to make sure that you know, we weather some of that early, and you know, make it a 4-quarter game and find a way to win it late. But it's going to be exciting. Our guys know we have great respect for what they've done. They're a ranked football team. We got a few of them coming up in the upcoming weeks, and we know it's a challenging part of the schedule.
Yeah, Lance, what's a game like this? What does it mean for recruiting?
Well, again, I think through the years we've shown ourselves as what we want to do in recruiting locally and everything like that. I think it shows progress of your program and where you're at if you win a game like this. But again, it's still about a holistic plan in recruiting and what you do. I don't know if it sways somebody one way or the other just based on the outcome. But again, you know, as I said, we've got to find a way to get more of these in this game on our side of the ledger, and make it that way, and truly make it a rivalry type setting.
What kind of experiences some of the guys in the secondary who haven't played a lot get from Saturday's game?
Yeah, there are some guys again, you know, Taylor Davis in the second extended time of playing time this year. I thought he handled the environment well. He's got some things to improve on right now. He's a guy who brings energy, just trying to temperament him in the right way to put his energies in the right focus and to be a solid player. He's got the ability to help this program for years to come. And you know, sitting in the secondary meeting today, I think he took the right steps on taking those things, and we're trying to make sure that we're, you know, communicating and getting everybody on the same page. And it was good to see the way Taylor's progressed in that. Caleb Purdy's another one that really played his first extensive time again, and unfortunately he had the penalty on a hold, which it was, but a great learning time for him as well. He's a very smart football player, knows our scheme, and again, for him to get his feet wet is going to be important, because as we said, we're not as deep as we once were there.
You hit on it there, but do you feel like Mason or one of the Dye brothers will be able to return this week?
You know, right now, you know, Mason was out there a little bit today. The Dye brothers were not, so we'll kind of wait and see here coming out of today's injury report. But I'm not counting on any of those guys right now.
And when it is a night kickoff in a rivalry game like this, I know it was a very similar situation in 2022. Do you guys tweak anything with the way you run through your day on the Saturday of, or do you very much try to keep it like it has been?
We have templates built for pretty much every kickoff slot that we get in you know, today's college football world with TV slots and where they put you. We may modify a little bit of, this is a bus trip, obviously, and our departure, and maybe a few things on Friday, but not a ton, with that. We're playing later, we may do a couple meetings. If we play an 11 o'clock game, obviously we have to get all our meetings done on Friday. If it's a night game, we might move a couple meetings into Saturday morning and use our time slots there, try to free the guys up a little bit more on Friday night, because there's a lot of time in between there. So we try to balance it, but I think through the years now, we've got ourselves in a pretty good routine, and we get player feedback on what they like, and we try to make that work.
And I'm curious for you personally, as you've been here longer, how has the meaning of this game changed for you over the years?
I don't know if it has. I've never been one that puts a ton of stock. Yeah, I think John asked the question about recruiting, and I'd be naive to think that there aren't things that probably play into that down the road, and progression and evaluation of where the program's at. But I still know that for us it's still about a daily and weekly process of a program and a season, and that you want to play well in games like this. There's meaning for a lot of the local players. A guy like Devin is going to play in his last one, and I'm sure he wants to find a way for us to pull one out here and play well. But again, you still we're open the next week, but we still got plenty of games to play, and I've never felt anywhere in my head coaching career that you put your eggs in one game when there's not another one, when there's more to follow. I just don't know if that's the way to go about it.
Turnovers, you guys kind of struggled early this season, only turned it over once over the last 3 games. What do you attribute that to? I know you guys were working on it through the preseason. You've always done turnover circuits, so what do you think the trend
Well, again, I
is?
think Jalen's felt more comfortable. I think, continue to look at where we're at on a weekly comparison from last year to this year. And then once again, I've been saying it for a lot of weeks, the margin is very small of the difference in one of the areas that, one of the 2 areas we talked on one earlier also was interceptions, turnovers that way, and sacks and TFLs on the other side of the ball. And I think we were able to win that battle this week, and we're going to need to continue that down the road. Again, I think Jalen's felt more comfortable in what he's been doing. I've had talks with him about what he's comfortable throwing. He's very comfortable with what's in the game plan. He has input on things that he likes and doesn't like, and I just feel he's gotten himself into a better rhythm. For a guy who didn't really take any reps last spring, and then went through it. Some of the 11 on 11 stuff, we probably thought he was further along and knocking off the rust than he probably truly was. Okay, and now he's in a pretty good spot, and I think we're starting to see the Jalen Daniels of old, and he's making plays for us with his arm and with his feet.
Can you talk about the defensive tackle group a little bit? It feels like, especially runs up the middle, that's been a strength for you guys this year.
I think we have a deep group of guys. Jim Pangos does an excellent job with them. Rotating. Whether it be we talk about Caleb Taylor and his leadership and steadiness. DJ Withers, played an excellent game. Has a tremendous motor. Tommy Dunn's a guy that again has been fairly consistent this year. Has flashes. Blake Harrell's a guy that I think we're gonna continue to talk about him in years to come. Javier has done a nice job as well, and then Keenan Caldwell's a guy that really is kind of stuck to it in this program. He had to block field goal at Arizona State. He continues to take his role seriously in his snaps, and has been another big body that we need in there. So when you have that many guys to rotate, I looked at it, I don't have it memorized, but I don't know if we had a defensive tackle with over 30 snaps, and then when you're able to keep some of those guys fresh like that, it gives you a chance, especially late in games.
Daniel Highshaw went out of the last game. Just how's he doing, and what's his status?
He didn't go through practice today. It will be I'll put him in the very questionables for this next week.
Is it the same as what he was dealing with earlier in the season, or something different?
Well, he's re-aggravated things that responded to him earlier in the year.
else, coach? All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you.